What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Watch and Listen podcast. This is a show all about watches. I'm Matt Farah, and I do it with my buddy Cameron Weis, the CEO and head watchmaker of the Weis Watch Company, making mechanical timepieces from scratch. Yes, including the movements here in Los Angeles. They are fire, people. Trust me. This episode is brought to you by Crown & Caliber. Crown & Caliber is the best place to buy a secondhand luxury watch on the internet, and you should really only be buying your watches secondhand on the internet because that first owner depreciation, that's a big one. You get a lot of value if you're the second owner, and Crown & Caliber has limited mechanical warranties. They have watchmakers on site to make sure the product you're getting is in good working nick. Use code WL150 at checkout. That's code WL150 at checkout and get $150 off your first watch at Crown & Caliber. Okay, folks, on this episode of the Watch and Listen podcast, it's actually where I leave you. That's right. On episode 51, I, Matt Farah, am saying goodbye to the Watch and Listen podcast. I have kind of, I'll tell you about it in the show. It's not the end of the show. Don't unsubscribe. The show will go on, although it's where I'm jumping off board. On this episode of the Watch and Listen podcast, we're going to talk about the state of our collections, our current acquisitions, and that's it, the future of the show on the Watch and Listen podcast. What up, folks? It's the Watch and Listen podcast, and I actually am a little sad to do this one because it's the end.
Yep, the end.
I never knew how long this would go. We signed up to do 50 episodes, and I guess I figured we'd probably continue after 50, but when we got to like 40, it became a real struggle for me. It honestly did, and I feel guilty about that. Like, especially like talking to you about it because you love watches so much and you know so much about them. And you find the real technical details interesting, but I have never been able to get there. But I can't get there with cars either. Like I'll talk about a car, displacement, horsepower, how it drives, but I don't want to talk about your cam phase timing. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about your spark advance. Like I don't give a shit about that. I care about the end product, and I feel like I've kind of gotten there with watches too.
With watches, I'm like super nerdy. I won't necessarily tell other people all these things. You know, like if a non-watch person asks, "Oh yeah, it's this or it's that," It's simple. You know, this is the name that's on the dial, and it's mechanical, automatic, whatever. I don't get into the details of like, well, this dial has 2 T's on it, and it's this and that, and it's this reference number. I don't do that stuff with normal people.
No, I know, but it's obviously people have realized that the output of shows slowed down over the last couple of months, and I'll take full blame for the fact that like I kind of ran out of things I wanted to explore. Like I found myself like repeating shit. That happens sometimes, but like there's a lot of overlap in the watch world, but there's not a ton of ongoing new news. Like even if it's like huge news if someone puts a new strap on something or it's available in a new color.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, the mechanical watch hasn't changed very much in the last 200 years.
Totally.
We're really making 200-year-old products, but just putting a new spin on it and doing it in our own unique way.
Yeah.
So it's really about history almost.
It totally is. And when you run out of the 30 or 40 big companies, and like, you can only explore so many micro brands.
Yeah.
Some of them there's some great micro brands out there. I really enjoyed having like the Vortic guys on, like I found that, and the dude who was like copied the work, like that shit was sick. You know what I mean?
That
like
was crazy.
That's awesome. But like there's only so many of those that you can really be exploring, I think. But I feel like I'm so like, I don't know, I feel like lucky to have gotten a watch education and like somehow figured out how to get paid a little bit of money to do that, and also like create something that I guess like some people have enjoyed.
Yeah. Oh, for me, it's awesome to explore different brands.
Yeah.
You know, having my own brand, I get stuck in what are we doing, and I don't even pay attention to the other brands or what's going on. I'm just focused on how do we make this part and make it better or do this and that. Such a micro level that I really had not paid attention to the watch industry for the past 5 years outside of what we were doing.
That happens to me with my videos. People are like, dude, did you see what this dude was doing in the video? I'm like, nah, I didn't see that shit.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I should do a fucking podcast where I watch other people's videos and figure out what they're about. But like, you know, doing this show, it's on top of, you know, learning history, getting a primer on watches, going from a relative noob to someone that, for some, I don't know, people ask me advice on watches all the time. I mean, I've had 50 hours of watch education, I suppose. So, but that's more than a lot of people. But it's been like, you know, a privilege to be able to like to get educated while sharing that education. I think that's really nice.
And with Crown and Caliber, I mean, so many people don't have access to any of these watches. You'll never see them. You'll never see videos of them. You'll never hold them or anything. So for us to have been able to hold all these different watches from different brands because of Crown and Caliber, it's very cool.
And there's a lot of stuff like with a watch, especially when someone goes, well, why is this one worth 50,000 and this one is worth 5,000 and this one's worth 500? Like really, like, go, Cameron, actually run back in the other room real quick and grab a $50,000 Vacheron. Like grab one of those, like whatever you think is probably the fucking most expensive one. I didn't really, and like I just want to you know, like when you see a picture on Instagram or something, like you go, what? God, how could that be an order of magnitude of 10? And like it's the same as a car. It's like the amount of love and labor that goes into it. It's the cost of well-trained humans doing highly specialized things. And you know, you can have something. I thought I brought my Seiko, but I actually didn't, which bums me out. But you can have, you know, the difference between oh look, here we go. 2 world times. Here we have 2 world times that can do whole big differences, and one is just orders of magnitude, you know, crazier than the other one. Even though, as it turns out, my Ralph Lauren one, which I thought was steel, is actually white gold. We learned later, which does improve that somewhat. But I just think, for us, being able to hold it is really where you feel the difference. It's like that distribution of weight, you know what I mean? And like the way that like the curves of the case kind of feel and the way it sits, like it's significantly.
Even, like look at the difference in the finishing on these movements.
Yeah. It's substantially different.
Hard to see the Vacheron one.
Well, you had it there, yeah.
Like look at the finishing on that compared to the more
the Ralph Lauren, which is actually a very nice JLC like movement. Like it's not a shit movement or something like.
But just more machine finished.
Yeah,
as opposed to the hand finishing for the Geneva seal.
So to be able to like, you know, learn by touching and playing and doing and wearing these things for like, you know, a month at a time. Some cases, Crown and Caliber lets me demo stuff. That it's you get to develop your own taste as well, which is really nice because I'm like not way different from where I started, but like my taste has definitely like evolved from where I started, and like I ended up with like a collection of things that I actually really like. And now when I look, I actually don't have much envy when I look and browse at what's out there, because I think I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. I thought I wanted a deep sea. Let's put this one under. Crown and Caliber sent me this deep sea because I was like, oh, let's see what's up with these sport watches with the chunkier cases, and the new Sea Dwellers are like real expensive right now. So I thought about this deep sea, and it is so thick and heavy.
Yeah. When you go diving with a deep sea, you actually remove 1 pound of weight from your weight belt just to compensate.
Like, it's good that it can go so deep because it's basically an anchor.
Yeah.
Like, this thing can go to 12,800 feet. Like, what would kill a human? 1,500 maybe? Like 1,000, like, would, I think, probably kill a human.
Yeah.
There might be some kind of mix you can dive on in some very special rig where maybe you could get past that, but like Like, what do you do with this? Like, you strap it on a submarine just in case? Like, I understand.
That's how they do the press for it. They strap them to a submarine, send them down as deep as they can.
But like, what I want them to show me that they can do this.
Yeah.
But I don't physically want to wear it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't.
Well, that's like so Rolex created the watch that went the deepest.
Yeah.
Like 30 or 40 years ago. I think 40 years ago now or something like that. A long time ago. And Omega just came out with a new one that goes like 10 feet deeper, but it's 40 years later. Come on.
And I was talking to Chef Carl about that Omega. It's like it's called like, I don't know, it's a Seamaster Professional something or other.
Yeah.
I was talking to Chef Carl about it, and he goes, whenever Omega comes out with the thing that outdoes Rolex, that's when you buy the Rolex, because people will appreciate the Rolex quality versus Omega at that exact moment.
Yeah.
And the capability doesn't matter.
And they really are back and forth, Rolex, Omega. And you see it. I went to school with Omega. So at Omega, you don't mention Rolex. Rolex does not exist. It's the company that will remain unnamed.
That's very
And it's always
funny.
like, well, they took this idea from us and, you know, so...
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore because they stole that. Things like that. And it's very funny.
The Deep Sea, I really thought I was going to like it. And the second I put it on, I went, nope. Because it's so like, here's what's great about the GMT or an Explorer, which I think are Explorer 2, which I think are the Explorer 2 Black Dial is my favorite Rolex right now. That's my favorite. But I'm not just trying to show off Rolexes. But my collection has ended up here after trying on like a bunch of other stuff. And like I sold a bunch of stuff to them too. I sold my IWC Perpetual.
That's right. Yeah.
Because actually out of paranoia, because I had to keep it on a winder, which meant I couldn't keep it in a safe, which actually kind of bugged me out.
Unless you got one of those special safes that
dude,
has
they're like
winders in them.
20 G's. Like they're so. Simon Wolf was on the show and he was all, I'll hook you up, and I was like, what does that mean? He's like 50% off, which is like very nice. And then I went and looked. I was like, 50% off of 30 G's is 15 G's. Like, whoa.
It's still a lot of money.
Yeah, no. So I got a regular safe that doesn't have winders built into it, and I sold the watch that has to be kept in the winder. Also, I've gone away from these big oversized cases. I went down a big oversized case kick, and now what I really like, especially about the Explorer 2, is the balance around the wrist. Like the big Panerais that I borrowed, I was bugged out by them because it's like you wear a big blob on one side of the wrist, and then because it's a leather strap, there's literally no weight on the other side.
Yeah, it just
so
feels
it's really floppy and lopsided. Whereas, so the Explorer 2 is basically the same, almost the same diameter as the Deep Sea, but it's like half the thickness, and it has the same bracelet. So it has the same amount of weight distributed among the other side of the wrist without this giant weight on one side.
Yeah,
it makes much more sense.
Feels much nicer on the wrist.
And also show both the dials. Like considering the case size, like the Explorer has
this one upside down.
The Explorer has a better dial, more readable dial, better hands. You know what I mean? Like it's more usable space. So anyway, if you want a giant, fat, chunky case, or you're a commercial diver, or you plan to strap watches on the outside of a submarine, go with a Deep Sea. Otherwise, I go in the ocean, I go in pools, I wear watches in the shower, I wear watches when I wash cars, I wear watches when I do dishes, but I don't need a watch that goes past the depth that my body could possibly withstand.
Yeah.
So I go in the water with my Explorers. The Explorer 2, I got this as a present from my father for my wedding, and I will keep it forever. It has my wedding date engraved in the back of it. Like my parents are incredible to give me something like that.
Yeah, that's a good gift.
But if I'm honest on this podcast, it is not my favorite watch to wear. It's sentimentally, it's incredible, but to wear this Black Dial Explorer 2, I think Carl called it for me, and he was right. That is the best watch that I've put on. It's got the diameter, but it's also got the thinness, the legibility, the GMT function.
Yeah. Second time zone without being busy.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Really nice. And I use it. I use the GMT function all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know about this one. I traded my Batman for 2 Explorers, which I think was the right move, figuring eventually I would get tired of one and swap it out, and it might be the white dial on this rubber bee rubber. I think I wear the black one more. What do you think?
I used to not be a fan of white dials, and they've grown on me over the past couple of years. Yeah. So I would probably go for the white dial in this particular watch.
You know when I wear the white dial? When I go skiing. It's like I feel like I'm ski patrol when I wear it, and I wear it when I go like sailing or do like water sports. I wear it. I feel like a water guy in it, like a lifeguard kind of.
Yeah, it does feel very like emergency, like response kind of.
Yeah, it's a real EMS look.
Yeah.
You know what I ended up buying and then never wearing is the gold G-Shock. The gold G-Shock didn't stick with me.
Yeah,
it didn't. I guess I'm not a G-Shock guy. There's G-Shock people. I visited Chef Carl at his restaurant, and he wears his gold G-Shock every day to work, and his is fucked up. His is trashed. It's amazing how much work he's put into that. I may just give him mine so he can have a do-over.
Yeah.
And I think I wear your watch a lot. Your watch is great, and I wear the Hodinkee Heuer Autavia. This has, I think, the most comfortable bracelet I have ever put on. This thing is so pretty, and it's a little thick, but it's really nicely balanced. The dial is fucking gorgeous. The movement in the back from the display back is very pretty. I get kind of bummed out because I scratch up the clasp when I wear. Yeah. I type and I scratch up the
because it's
shiny clasp. It's high polished, so I'm gonna have to get that polished again. Fortunately, the Heuer logo is actually carved into it. It's not like lasered on like lazily, so that should be cool, like not too big of a deal. But like that Beads of Rice bracelet is so comfortable, and it's just a really fun watch to wear if you want an alternative to your traditional sport watch. That's a way better chronograph than a Daytona. I don't care what you say.
I think so, yeah. Daytona's just too hard to read for me.
Me too.
The handset I do not like.
Doesn't
I like
work.
the overall look of the bezel and the case shape, but the dial and hands have never really done it for me. Yeah.
If it was in a 42 and they had some more room, like
there's a couple of models of the Daytona that I do really like. I think the hand and dial combinations are really nice, but for the most part,
they're kind of hard to read.
Yeah.
This is very easy to read. If they could do one thing better in this Autavia, it would have a screw down crown. It bums me that it doesn't have a screw down crown. I wore it in the shower once by accident and it was fine, but it bums me out that it doesn't have a screw down crown. But I don't know. And lastly, did we talk about this thing? I don't know if we talked about this. Have you seen this?
I have not seen that.
So I traded the IWC Perpetual straight up for this. This is a solid gold sub with a black dial. Marco found it, and I traded straight up the IWC for it, and I'm pleased I did.
Yeah.
I don't wear it very often. I feel a little silly wearing it. I wore it to Luftgold. That's where I wore it to. But for the same, I don't think IWC watches as an investment are on an upswing now. I think Rolexes are. I think the fact that this one is a rarer black dial, it's not that blue dial that everyone has seen, and the fact that it's solid gold means it's not fake. You can't fake that. I think this was a wise lateral investment move. And I can keep it in a safe, and I don't have to keep it in a winder on my desk, which makes me much more secure.
Yeah.
This is a really cool watch. I think it's great. I think it's nice and heavy. It's unpolished. But it's still in really nice shape. It's not fucked up. It was clearly somebody's. They wore it, but it's the ridges on the bezel aren't too worn down. Someone took good care of it. It's from like the mid '90s.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
And these are great because they're not as expensive as the current ones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an older watch, but it's still a great watch. But you don't have the solid gold links in the bracelet, so it's not as heavy as the new gold.
It's roughly as heavy as the Steel Explorer.
Yeah.
It's about the same.
Yeah. So you've got the folded parts. So it's actually folded over solid gold. but not like machined from solid gold bar. Mm-hmm. So there's not so much sticker shock for one, which is really nice, but it's also not as heavy as a solid gold bracelet watch, which can be really like over the top.
Oh my God, so heavy. Spike got one from Crown and Caliber,
Yeah.
a solid gold GMT. It was real heavy.
Yeah.
And it was really expensive too. It was $29,000.
Yeah.
It was very
Just
expensive.
not even comfortable to wear.
No. I mean, it was more comfortable than like the Sea Dweller because at least it's uniformly distributed. Like it's one thing to have a bunch of weight on your wrist, but it's another for you to have the weight flopping around when you're doing this. Like you want this to not be inhibited by your watch, really.
Yeah.
I think. Because you know what I notice it? Like, swear to God, when I drive stick shift cars and I have that giant boat anchor on versus something a little lighter, like I want to feel the weight of something. I don't like that carbon full it weighs 2 grams kind of thing. But like it gets a little ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't want to feel it bump around every time you move your arm.
Yeah, you want it to be even. You added to your collection. Wait, what was the model?
Blancpain 2250.
If I was
GMT
smarter, I would have asked you
version.
to I bring it. I forgot, but I'll get you a picture. Cameron buying a watch is a rare treat. Cameron is being a watchmaker. Wait, let me find a better picture. Has all the reason in the world not to buy watches, but Rachel from Crown and Caliber called me. She was like, "Cameron bought a watch. Tell me about this Blancpain. It's very cool."
Right. So this particular watch is kind of a weird watch. It like with that old style bezel.
The bezel says Yachtmaster.
Exactly. The bezel
sure.
says Yachtmaster for sure. But the neat thing that really draws me to these watches is the fact that it has like a high horology movement in it that has a 100-hour power reserve automatic.
When you told me 100 hours, that's wild. Who makes the movement?
It was a Frederick Piguet movement, and it's still used today in Vacheron watches, and actually Blancpain still uses that same movement today.
Do they
as
really?
well. Yeah. So it's a GMT version of that movement.
I'll tell you what, investing in a movement that like works well it's got carry, right?
Oh yeah, that movement has been around for many years. And
60 years out of them.
Yeah, they tune up the tooling and they keep it going. They keep doing the hand finishing and everything. It's really a cool thing to see a movement last so long. You don't need to redesign it. It was perfect when they made it, and it still is perfect.
Yeah, for this task. Yeah.
Yeah, but I like it because they produce very few of them, and it's similar to our watches where you have like just a number on the back of what number your watch is. It's not a huge like, not some weird serial number of like XJ11268. It's just like you have watch number.
What number is yours?
391.
Nice.
Yeah.
Out of how many do you think they made?
Of this particular watch, maybe 1,000 or 1,100, something like
not
that.
Very many.
Yeah.
What
and then
strap
it
is
switched.
on yours?
The bracelet. So that's
the
another
metal
amazing
bracelet?
thing about these old watches. The bracelets.
Would that be this? That's a
yeah.
Let's find a bracelet. This bracelet?
Yep, that
right?
bracelet. So you won't see it from the front side, but from the side profile of the watch, if you get a side picture, like maybe that one, you still don't really see it.
Okay.
But basically what they did is the links are oval from the side profile.
Okay.
So the underside is rounded as well.
Oh.
So it's extraordinarily comfortable. Really comfortable strap.
I can see some ovals here.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's similar to like this, right? Isn't on the Grand Seiko they do that, the ovals?
No, it's more pronounced than this. It's the same. It's symmetrical top and bottom on theirs, whereas this has a little bit of a flat on the bottom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But on this particular Blancpain bracelet,
it's fully oval.
It's fully oval,
cool.
Which makes for a really comfortable bracelet. And I like that era for Switzerland.
You like the 90s?
I like the 90s for Swiss watches simply because you know that they were actually produced in Switzerland.
Oh.
Now a lot of Swiss watches are produced in Asia.
Oh, they're pushing the that Swiss made thing in the percentages.
Yeah, exactly. And also they just back then a Swiss made watch was a Swiss made watch. Now it's a bigger business. Mm-hmm. And when the businesses get bigger, they have to get a little more profit out of everything. So they find other ways to make things, and they find ways to shave a little money out of there to increase the margin. So I just really like the 90s for for watches. Also, they weren't as popular.
So there's
less of them.
Yeah.
Whereas now, if you go buy a 50 Fathoms Blanc Pawn, their limited edition numbers are like huge.
Yeah.
We did 10,000 of this watch with a blue dial in 1 year.
Yeah.
So this was a watch that was around for, I think, into the early 2000s or something like that, or in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And
they sold 1,000 of them in 10 years.
Well, 1,000 of this first edition.
Oh, okay.
Then they came out with a trilogy with a couple,
right, so
where it was a
one.
trilogy set kind of thing, and that was slightly different. But of these first ones, they also have a dial which will age. The lume will age as well. So it just has some really cool things for a watch of that time, and they're inexpensive.
Would you service that yourself?
Yeah, I would service this myself. Yeah, because I've actually worked on this movement at Vacheron.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah,
That's excellent. So, congratulations on your watch.
thank you.
I'm glad we got to do 50 hours of podcasting together.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're a very good teacher, very patient with my stupidity. And I've been able to been very fortunate that I've been able to build what I think I can call a watch collection based on the educated advice of many smart people who have sat in this seat and based on trying on a bunch of stuff from Crown and Caliber.
I think it's a solid collection. A little Rolex heavy, but I think if you chose on one of these Explorer, one of the Explorers, the white or the black dial, I think
I had the intention of maybe swapping one out. It is a little Rolex heavy, but if I'm honest with myself,
you enjoy that.
I like wearing them.
Yeah.
I like wearing them. I think the fit of them, the way they sit, the way they feel on my wrist is really nice. I smash my arms and hands into things all the time. They don't break. They don't dent. They don't, I've scratched other watches, the crystals. I've scratched the cases. I've nicked stuff. I've never really damaged a Rolex, and I've tried.
They make great watches.
And I just like the way they fit a lot better than most of the other watches I've tried. I really like owning a Grand Seiko. I like wearing that watch. I think it's cool. I like what that company does. I don't think that is going to pan out to be a great investment. I think your watch is going to turn out to be a great investment.
I hope so. I enjoy looking at it. That's all that really matters.
I wore your watch yesterday. I think that having a Weis watch made by the hands of Cameron Weis, while you can still do it before you have to hire more people, is going to pay off big in the end game. But ultimately, like day to day, I feel like a shitbag saying it, but like I actually just like wearing the Rolexes. I really do. I rotate the other ones, but
a lot of people ask me like what watch to get, and it's a really personal decision.
It is.
Like I might like something because of what's inside of it, and that's the only reason that I smile when I look at it.
Yeah.
But other people look at it and they go, "Oh, that's ugly,"
Yeah.
And it's you're thinking about something totally different when you look at it, and it's just a matter of looking at your wrist. Or just feeling it there, not even looking at it, and just knowing it's there and enjoying that.
Yeah.
That's what matters in collecting a watch, I think.
It totally is. It totally is. But I think in terms of like the gold one, where I'm kind of just like, I want an investment watch. I'm going to park this here for a little bit, wear it once in a while. Like, I think a gold sub is probably a good way to do that. But like, I've been impressed with the Explorers, especially as everyday watches. Like that's just, I don't think if I had to get rid of everything, just give me the black dial Explorer and I'm happy there.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool. And I plan to, so like what the fuck is going on now? I'm going to keep working with Crown and Caliber. I imagine you are as well. I'm going to do like Instagram watch reviews like once a month for them. And maybe we're going to do some watch meetups, something like that. I want to keep that going. I am selling the channel to Crown and Caliber.
Oh, nice.
So, not selling really. I'm giving it to them. I am. I'm giving it to them. They want to maybe continue the show, maybe with some of the guys and girls from Crown and Caliber, maybe with you. I think they want to do something with you about it. I don't know if you've talked to Rachel about it, but they want to keep something going. They want to continue working with us on meetups and social media type of stuff. And they want to create more content under the Watch and Listen banner. And so I am giving them the archives and I'm selling them the trademark, which I actually do own. And I hope that they take it and do something good with it. But like they might find a new host, and I'm not mad because I think I've learned a lot in these 50 hours, and it's been a privilege to do it.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I mean, being able to see the older watches, because a lot of these you're not going to be able to find them in any stores. And Crown and Caliber gets some really cool watches that you're never going to be able to handle. You're never going to be able to find. A lot of it you don't even know exists.
Like those weird Alaska project stuff?
Like try to find any ads or information on that Blancpain 2250.
Like from when it was new?
From when it was new. Anything. You're not going to find them.
But you
just
you
lost
got it at Crown and
information.
Caliber, right?
Yeah.
So they have been a really, really good sponsor. The WL150 discount code is continuing. So if you listen to this show even months or maybe even years after we've done it, I hope that the WL150, $150 off discount code works.
Yeah.
And of course, buy a watch from Cameron, Weis Watch Company.
Yeah.
They are made right here in Los Angeles by this man's hands. He's got a baby to feed, people. Buy a watch. What's new on the Weis horizon? You guys have anything new and sweet coming out that we need to talk about?
Well, we have we have our 38 millimeter, the smaller version of our field watch, which is in production right now. That's what I've been working on lately a lot. That's a great watch, super versatile. 38 millimeters, quite a bit thinner than our 42 millimeter field watch. Great for women, great for men who don't want to have a 42 millimeter watch. I wear both the 42 and the 38. But so we got that 38 going, and we're in full swing with production on that.
Partnerships? Do we have any co-brands coming up?
We do have some co-branding stuff coming up, but nothing I can talk about just yet.
Okay.
Hopefully before the end of the year, though.
All right, then.
Yeah.
So follow Weis Watch Company on Instagram, and of course also Cameron M. Weis on Instagram if you want to see his baby and dog pictures, which I follow both. What did you do here with your watch and a Chevy with a cowl hood?
Right? I saw that I saw that truck in Franklin, Tennessee, and I was like, check out these horns and this hood. I have to, yeah.
Oh boy, that is Franklin, Tennessee right there.
That's quite a Tennessee truck.
Well, I'm going to leave you with a special thank you to Crown and Caliber for doing this. They put faith and money in us. They paid to have this studio built, and they sent us hundreds of thousands, probably millions.
Yeah.
Actually, if you think about our 50 episodes, I think
I'd say
we have received millions of dollars in watches. Most of which we've sent back. I'm sorry if you don't like my review of the Deep Sea. If you're a fan of the Deep Sea, rock a fucking Deep Sea. Don't let me stop you. It is the King Goomba watch. If that is you, then rock it proudly. I'm going to go with my my Explorers and my Weis American issue field watch. So that's it for Watch and Listen, the series, as we know it. So lastly, thanks to all of you out there for sticking around and listening. It was fun.
Thank you.
And with that, good day.